Hello and welcome to Disney Movie Investigation. If you are joining us for the very first time, welcome to the show. Each week we take a look at a movie that is featured on Disney+. We take a look at how the movie got made, some interesting trivia about the movie, and what has happened since the movie has been released. So this episode we are going to continue our look at the movies that are featured on Disney Star, and we are taking a look at the 2002 zombie thriller 28 Days Later. We will take a look at the inspiration behind the movie, the many alternative endings that were filmed, and the popularity of the film after it was released. And if you are enjoying these videos, I do ask that you please hit that subscribe button. That way you will be notified each time a video is released. But for now, sit back and enjoy this episode of Disney Movie Investigation. So the movie, like I said, the movie we're talking about is 28 Days Later, which was released on November 1st, 2002 in the United Kingdom and Ireland, and June 27, 2003 for the United States. The director of this movie is Danny Boyle, and it was written by Alex Garland. In terms of the production companies, it was a co-production between DNA Films and the UK Film Council, with Fox Searchlight Pictures being the distributor. And then the budget for this movie was $8 million, so very low cost, and it did a box office return of $85.7 million. So let's take a look at the production. After director Danny Boyle and producer Andrew McDonald finished filming the movie The Beach, also written by Alex Garland approached McDonald about his concept for 28 Days Later. He said he was inspired from the movies from the Resident Evil video games, as well as George Romero's Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead movies. And they decided that the film was shot in London and the surrounding area. And for the busier areas of London, what they would do is they would film in the early mornings or on Sundays when the crowds were less apparent. So the movie had 3 different endings, and they all involved the main character, Jim, dying in 3 different ways. They decided not to go with this route and had the character Jim survive. However, one of these endings was re-edited into the US release after an online debate was created about it being better than the original ending. So let's take a look at the cast. We have Cillian Murphy, who plays Jim, Naomi Harris, who plays Selena, Brendan Gleeson, who plays Frank, Megan Burns, who plays Hannah, and we have Christopher Eggleston, who plays Major Henry West. So now that we know the cast and how the movie got made, let's take a look at the plot. A group of animal rights activists break into a lab and release monkeys from their cages to rescue them, despite warnings from a scientist that the monkeys are contagious with a deadly virus. As a result of the animal rights activists' actions, a virus that the monkeys contained end up spreading rapidly across Great Britain and infects numerous people. Jim, who fell into a coma following a bicycle accident shortly before the virus was released, emerges from his coma 28 days later and finds that London is deserted. He realizes that he is not alone, though, as within the city there are those that have been affected and those that have not. Jim manages to find more survivors, and they head to Manchester, where a group of Britain military personnel offer protection of any of the survivors from the infected. However, Jim and his colleagues have no idea what they are in for. So this movie was revolutionary for the time. A lot of people have said that it breathed life into the zombie movies, and it did inspire other movie projects such as the television show The Walking Dead and the Zombieland franchise. And then after the movie was released, a comic book sequel entitled 28 Days Later Aftermath was released by Fox, Atomic, and Boom Comics. The comic book series focuses on Selena and answers questions about her in the film and her sequel whereabouts. So what are my thoughts? I think the movie is a great example of low-budget filmmaking. It's very tight in terms of its shooting. Nothing is wasted. The story was unique at the time, and the special effects are amazing, especially for a low-budget film. Personally, these type of movies are not my favorite. But I found this one to be very engaging, and it tells an interesting story while maintaining that horror format. You can definitely tell that how these influence The Walking Dead and Zombieland. And I definitely recommend it for horror fans, as I think it's a great combination of story while also maintaining that horror gore that they tend to like. The movie does, fair warning, it is fairly graphic, as if you can't already tell. And it has a lot of blood and gore, but I think the story justifies it as opposed to just putting blood and gore for the sake of it. So I definitely recommend, if you're a horror fan or if you're just looking for something unique, I definitely recommend that you check this one out. So that's pretty much it for 28 Days Later. But thank you again for everyone for joining us on this episode. Please leave your comments whether you liked the film or you didn't like the film, or what you thought of the movie overall. I'd be interested to see what people think. For our next video, though, we are going into the fantasy world created by James Cameron as we look at the 2009 fantasy film Avatar. So until next time, I hope everyone has a great day, and we'll see you real soon. Bye.